Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Raphael Varane is out for a few weeks with a groin injury. Raphael Varane came off injured in France's Nations League final against Spain. Varane went down holding his leg. He got replaced in the 43rd minute by Dayot Upamecano. Varane has started 6 of our games so far this season. So Varane won't be playing on Saturday against Leicester. He'll be missing the game against Atlanta in the Champions League, and he'll be missing the game against Liverpool next week. I think Varane has done pretty well though since he's come in. In the last 2 games he played for Man United though, he has looked a bit off the pace, but apart from that he's done well in all the other games. We got Varane in a deal worth £41 million, with add-ons included. Man United paid like £34 million up front. Varane is under contract with Man United until 2025. There's an option of a further year. Varane to Manchester United was official just before kick-off against Leeds, which was the opening day. Varane is regarded as one of the best centre-halves in the world. He's highly experienced and he's got a very good pedigree as a player. Varane won a lot of trophies when he was at Real Madrid, and he was a long-serving player when he was at Real Madrid. He endured 10 years with them. Harry Maguire, he's also out with injury. He came off injured in our 1-0 defeat to Aston Villa earlier on in the season, and Solskjaer did say at the time, Maguire's going to be out for a few weeks. Maguire had ligament damage in his ankle towards the end of last season. So, obviously, reflecting on that, we're going to have to go with Eric Bailly and Victor Lindelof for the game against Leicester on Saturday. They are our backup centre-halves to Harry Maguire and Raphael Varane. But anyway, it said not so long ago that Man United is set to offer Harry Maguire a new 5-year contract worth £300,000 a week. We want to reward Harry Maguire as he's established himself as a key figure under Solskjaer. At the moment, Maguire currently earns £189,000 a week, and he's under contract with Man United until 2025. Maguire has made 78 appearances in the Premier League for Man United. We got Maguire from Leicester back in 2019. We got him for 80 million, so he's the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment, and he's the second most expensive signing at the club. Now, I have been talking with you a lot about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer recently. The vast majority of Manchester United fans are Ole out. Maybe there's still some Man United fans that are Ole in. I can assure Solskjaer is not the long-term manager for Man United, and a lot of United fans will agree with me on that aspect. There's United fans that are demanding Antonio Conte to replace Solskjaer. There's also some United fans that want Zidane in. Solskjaer is under pressure because we are winless in our last 2 league games and we have only won 2 of our last 6 games in all competitions. But despite that, Man United is still fully committed to Solskjaer and have no plans to replace the club legend as manager despite a topsy-turvy start to the season. The Daily Mail said not so long ago that Solskjaer's future as Man United manager could depend on the next 10 games. Solskjaer received strong backing in the summer transfer window this year. John Murtough backed him. John Murtough is our director of football, and we certainly made the right decision getting a director of football in, because I did mention that's one of the structural changes we needed at the club. John Murtough said not so long ago that we need to keep control and we will not deviate from the plan. Darren Fletcher also backed Solskjaer in the summer transfer window. We made the right decision recommending Darren Fletcher back in. You know, Darren Fletcher knows the club through thick and thin. He endured 2 decades as a player for Man United. Ed Woodward has also backed Solskjaer. We know that Woodward is leaving Manchester United. It got announced he was leaving back in April when that European Super League came into the equation. Woodward has had a 16-year association with the club, and the Glazers surprisingly backed Solskjaer, but only through persuasion. Don't forget, it said, was it last week, that the Glazers are selling 8% of Manchester United, and the shares that are worth 137 million. Don't forget, towards the end of last season, the Glazers were planning to scrap the Champions League for that European Super League, and reflecting on that, there was Man United fans protesting against the Glazers. Not so long ago, it said the Glazers were unhappy with Solskjaer because of 3 players. The main reason the Glazers have been one of the biggest issues at the club for a long time is because they've put Man United in so much debt. The Glazers have been with us for 16 years. They purchased the club for 500 million back in 2005. And you know what? Man United enjoyed a good summer transfer window. It was one of the best transfer windows we enjoyed for a while because our recruitment was so poor for so long. So we brought Tom Eaton in on a free from Villa, brought Jadon Sancho in from Borussia Dortmund, brought Rafael Varane in from Real Madrid, and we re-signed Cristiano Ronaldo after 12 years. We spent around 141 million in the summer transfer window. Our players though seem to be happy with Solskjaer. But like I updated you earlier on today, Man United players are unhappy with Solskjaer's coaching. That was stemming from The Athletic and the Manchester Evening News. Despite them being unhappy with the coaching, Man United are set to stick with Solskjaer, Michael Carrick, Kieran McKenna and Mike Phelan. Not so long ago, Mike Phelan signed a new contract. Solskjaer may get until the end of this season. I think Solskjaer has to win a trophy at Man United this season to save his job, because he's not yet won a trophy as Man United manager. We haven't won anything since 2017, over 4 years ago now, almost. And a few weeks ago, Solskjaer did mention that we must leave a legacy of silverware if But we know Solskjaer's ambition for this season, and that's to win the Premier League. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013. That's 8 years ago now. We've won 20 titles and 13 of them are Premier League titles. But there's a lot of United fans like me that are very sceptical that we're going to win a Premier League under Solskjaer, or win anything under Solskjaer, should I say. But revert back to what I've said numerous times, we should be winning the league this season because we've got a title winning squad. So there's no more excuses. And earlier on this season, Solskjaer told his Man United squad that it's better than the 1999 treble winning team that Ole was part of. The reason our performances aren't good enough is because we seem to be playing as individuals. We're not playing as a team, like Gary Neville mentioned earlier on this season. You've got the likes of Liverpool that play as a team, Chelsea play as a team, and the likes of Man City and that play as a team. But I did say at the start of this season that this season was going to be massive for Solskjaer. This season is Solskjaer's third full season as Man United manager. I'm surprised he's lasted as long as this. But I think the reason Solskjaer is still Man United manager is because he's a legend of the club. That's what's basically saved his job. In the summer, Solskjaer signed a new contract with the club until 2024. There's an option of a further year. And revert back to what I said before, we made a mistake giving Solskjaer that new contract because I can assure he won't see it out. And a lot of United fans will agree with me on that aspect. Maybe we should have waited until the midway part of this season or even the end of this season to decide or not whether to give him the contract. Solskjaer still had like 7-8 months left on the 3-year contract he signed when he got the job permanently back in March 2019. Like I updated you not so long ago, Solskjaer's tactics got slammed by Danny Blind. Danny Blind is the Holland assistant and is the father of ex-United player Daley Blind. Got to agree with what he said though. There's a lot of United fans, including me, that have got strong reservations about Solskjaer's decision making because analysing the vast majority of the games he's managed at Man United, he's been tactically naive. Solskjaer has no proven pedigree as a manager. That's also another concern. Solskjaer will be celebrating 3 years as Manchester United manager in December. Solskjaer got appointed in December 2018 to replace Mourinho. He's been permanent Manchester United manager since March 2019. We have spent like 441 million under the Solskjaer era, and Solskjaer so far has signed 14 players. He's also got rid of a lot of players since he's come in. He's got rid of a lot of players permanently. He's also loaned a few players out. I think Solskjaer is our best manager since Ferguson. Despite me criticising him a lot during his managerial tenure at Man United. Solskjaer is obviously not going to replicate what Ferguson did at the club. No manager's going to replicate what Ferguson did, not in my lifetime anyway. Alex Ferguson brought success to Manchester United because he won 30 odd trophies including 13 Premier League titles, but Fergie didn't settle in straight away because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at Man United. So that just indicates that it takes some managers time to settle in. good job we didn't sack Ferguson any time in that 4-year period when he didn't win anything, because we wouldn't have had any success now. Ferguson did enjoy a 27-year tenure at Man United, so he was a very long-serving manager. But yeah, since Ferguson, we have been playing catch-up. A lot of United fans predicted it was all going to go wrong when Ferguson retired, which it has done. 3 managers have been sacked since Ferguson. We sacked Moyes after 10 months. Moyes is probably the worst manager we've ever had. We finished 7th under the David Moyes era. We sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years. We did win the FA Cup under him, and we sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years, despite him winning 3 trophies in his first season and getting us a second place finish in his first season. So you can say Mourinho did enjoy one good season at Man United. But the reasons it didn't work out under Mourinho is because he had bad disputes with the top players. He had bad disputes with the board as well, and the board just weren't backing the signings that Mourinho wanted to bring in. Don't forget, Mourinho at one point did make it clear to our board that he wanted a centre-half, but Mourinho never got that centre-half that he wanted in. Now, earlier on today, I spoke with you about Donny van de Beek. Solskjaer's private view on Donny van de Beek has become public. Solskjaer still believes that Donny van de Beek has an Old Trafford future. Recently, Solskjaer got accused of blatantly lying about Van de Beek. Solskjaer has to start Donny van de Beek, especially in the Premier League, because Van de Beek is a good player. But I haven't really had much of a perception on him at Man United. Many clubs are in for Van de Beek. Narratives have come out today and said that Juventus have opened talks with Van de Beek's agent. Newcastle are interested in Van de Beek. Everton remain interested in Van de Beek. It said that from Sky Sports not so long ago. Well, Everton were close to signing Donny van de Beek on loan, but Solskjaer rejected Donny van de Beek's exit. Fabrizio Romano said not so long ago that Van de Beek is planning to leave the club in January. It said not so long ago that Van de Beek's agent is said to be working hard on finding a new club for his client. Not so long ago, Van de Beek was furious with Solskjaer as he was left on the bench in Man United's win over Villarreal. Van de Beek was spotted throwing chewing gum in the dugout. So Van de Beek will try to force a January transfer away from Man United following his Villarreal meltdown. Earlier on this season, Van de Beek told Solskjaer his best position. He reckons he'd be best served operating as a number 6 or as a number 8. And earlier on this season, Van de Beek spoke about his Man United future in an exclusive interview with Rio Ferdinand. This season is Van de Beek's second full season at Man United. We got him in a deal worth 40 million with add-ons included. Van de Beek's got a contract with Man United till 2025. There's an option of a further year. And he's versatile. He can play in like 3 different roles. You also know the news on Paul Pogba, giving the news on him earlier on today. Lee Ten Sport has said that PSG are ready to offer $500,000 a week in wages to Paul Pogba if Pogba decides to leave Manchester United next summer. It said, was it before the start of the season, that Pogba's set to join PSG on a free next summer. Well, PSG couldn't get Paul Pogba in this year's summer transfer window because they got Lionel Messi. Not so long ago, Paul Pogba refused to rule out a Juventus return. Paul Pogba did admit he always speaks to his ex-Juventus teammates. Earlier on this season, Paul Pogba's agent Mino Raiola suggested that Pogba could return to Juventus from Man United on a free next summer. Paul Pogba did enjoy 4 good years with Juventus before he rejoined Man United. Real Madrid have been relentlessly linked with Pogba, Barcelona and Inter Milan have been in for him before, so he's had a long-running transfer saga. But was it last week? He said Paul Pogba wants to stay at Manchester United and he wants to sign a new contract worth £400,000 a week. That would make Paul Pogba one of the best paid players at the club. Well, Paul Pogba's current contract at Man United expires next summer. Before the start of this season, Pogba rejected a new Man United contract. Earlier on this season, it said Pogba's very likely to leave Man United on a free next summer. And the other week, it said Man United set the Paul Pogba deadline. We want Paul Pogba's future to be sorted by Christmas. Paul Scholes, by the way, has backed Paul Pogba to stay at Man United. He can't see why he'd want to leave, because Scholes did mention the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona and PSG are a mess. And Scholes said Pogba should be delighted playing football in England as the Premier League is the best in the world. But I want Pogba to stay with it, that's what I've said before. He's a good player, not only that, he's an imperative player. He's enjoyed a good start to the Premier League season. Pogba's already got 7 assists in the league. He produced good performances for Man United in the last couple of months of last season, but at one point last season he was out with a thigh injury for a while, and Paul Pogba sustained some ankle injuries at Man United. This season is Pogba's 6th season at Man United since he rejoined. He's won 3 trophies at the club so far. And Pogba's our most expensive signing at the moment because we paid $89 million for him. We did have him when he was a lot younger under Alex Ferguson, but had to let him go due to limited appearances. But I'm expecting Man United to sell quite a lot of players next year. There's a very good chance that Anthony Martial's going to go. Martial's finished at Manchester United. And he doesn't really get in our team, does he? Martial did play against Everton before the international break. To be fair, he put a good performance out against Everton. And he scored. It was his first goal for Man United since February. He played against West Ham in the Carabao Cup, but he struggled to make an impact in that one. Solskjaer seems to have a lot of trustworthy in Martial, doesn't he? Solskjaer gave him the number 9 shirt, and before the start of this season it said Solskjaer refused to sell Martial as he remains part of his plans. Now, as you all know, Newcastle want Martial. It recently said Newcastle made formal contact with Martial's representatives. With the Saudi Arabians taking over Newcastle are now planning to spend big. Man United will demand close to the $54 million they originally paid for Martial back in 2015 from Monaco. Earlier on this season it said Barcelona are considering a move for Martial next year. Martial's been a long-term target for Tottenham. Atletico Madrid were in for him last summer. Before the start of the season, Inter Milan wanted Martial to replace Lukaku because Lukaku went back to Chelsea. The best season I recall Martial having was his debut season under Louis van Gaal. He's been at Man United 6 years. He's got 3 years left on his contract. Martial has scored 79 goals for Man United in all competitions. Last season he was out with a knee injury for a while. I think we'll sell Cavani next year. He might go in January, Cavani. I can't say I want Cavani to go though, because Cavani's made an impact since he's come in. You know, Cavani's hold-up play is good. His movement in and around the box is good. He creates good chances and he scores very good goals. Cavani actually was out with injury earlier on this season. I think Cavani's going to get a lot more chances now though, because obviously we're considering a formation change, which will allow Solskjaer to play 2 strikers, so I do presume it will be Ronaldo and Cavani playing together. Cavani played against Everton before the international break, had a very good chance from a downward header, produced a good save from Jordan Pickford. Cavani's got under a year left on his contract. It was back in May Cavani signed that 1-year contract extension. Cavani receives over 200 grand a week. He said the other week that Real Madrid want Cavani on loan in January, and I presume Barcelona will reignite their interest in January, because Barcelona tried to get Cavani on deadline day in the summer transfer window, but Romano said that Cavani would not be leaving Man United and he'd be staying. Cavani's got a good pedigree behind him. Look at the amount of trophies he won when he was at PSG. Juan Mata, I'm expecting him to leave next year. Juan Mata doesn't get in our team, does he? Juan Mata's contract expires next summer, because earlier on this year Juan Mata signed a 1-year contract extension. I can't understand why we extended Mata's contract for another year. And Mata's ageing up, he's lost that yard of pace. But despite all of that, I reckon that Juan Mata's had a very good career at Man United. Juan Mata's been at Man United for 7.5 years, so he's been a long-serving player. He's made over 200 appearances for Man United in all competitions and scored over 50 goals. First part of last season, Mata rejected an 18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. Back in 2014, we got Juan Mata for £40 million. We brought him in under the David Moyes era. Like I said, good chance Van der Beek will leave next year. I want us to offload Fred next year, because Fred isn't good enough to represent the club. We overpaid for Fred. We got him in a deal worth 50 million from Shakhtar Donetsk. Tellez will leave next year as well. Tellez doesn't really get in our team. Only played recently because Luke Shaw had a minor injury and he had illness. Tellez, though, to be fair, did well against Villarreal, scored a very good volley. Also played well against West Ham in the Cup, apart from him being the culprit for West Ham's goal. Tellez was out with injury earlier on this season. The reason we brought Tellez in was to provide competition for Shaw, but we've seemed to get the best out of Shaw since Tellez has come in. We got Tellez for 15.4 million. The good chance Diego Dalot will leave next year as well. He's our backup right back to Wan-Bissaka. And I think Phil Jones and Bailly will leave next year. Maybe Dean Henderson will go out on loan as well, with De Gea reclaiming the number 1 spot. Well, it said earlier on this season that Dean Henderson wants a loan move away from Man United. So there you go. So tomorrow, at some point, your Leicester-Manchester United preview will be coming up. And there you go. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update with today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe. The channel name is Red Devil 24. Take care. God bless. See you all again soon.